Hey guys, today we're talking about Fluval Stratum for planted aquariums. Now we have a bag of this stuff right here. Let's check it out. This is actually a volcanic soil. You can see that it comes in a kind of a compressed soil ball. It's got a very porous structure to it. It's a great alternative for planted aquariums and actually suitable for shrimp tanks too. Now, being very light and porous, roots tend to penetrate very easily, so they get a good quick start to growth. It's also because of the porous structure, it's also very good for bacterial establishment on its surface. So nitrifiers grip on there and multiply very easily as well, helping the biological balance of your tank. And it has a natural tendency to lower pH, which is a natural for an aquarium that contains plants and fish, and of course shrimp. And when it comes to shrimp, newborns get to hide in it very easily. It's not a hard structure, so they can get in there. It doesn't affect them at all. It's very safe for them. And an added benefit is the fact that it doesn't discolor water. And in fact, it actually reduces discoloration for water a little bit. So when you're going to incorporate things like natural driftwood, it tends to help take away the brown water aspect from that. So now that we covered some of the introductory points of the product, Eric's going to take us through a basic setup and give us some tips and tricks when we're setting up an aquarium with Fluval Plant Stratum.
Hey guys, so regarding setup, the first thing that's really important to remember is that to get from a tank like this to a finished product, as we have here with our Flex 15, is that patience is very important. This tank has been grown in for 2 to 3 months at this point. Planted tanks like this do not happen after a couple of weeks. You really have to give it time and correctly maintain it over that time to achieve a finished product. So in this tank, what I've started by doing is by rinsing the stratum. Now you want to do so with a strainer in cold water. Stratum is quite a delicate substrate, so you don't want to rough it up too much. Now once you add it to your aquarium, you will notice that the water becomes quite turbid at first. That's totally natural, don't worry about it. You can still see a bit of it in this tank, but it clears up after about 48 hours. It looks really clear, as in our Flex 15. Now another thing that I like to do is to put in my hardscape materials into the tank first. If you are moving big rocks and pieces of driftwood around in the stratum, you'll have a tendency to destroy it, break it up, render it useless. So I like to put in my hardscape materials first and then add the stratum around it. So in terms of planting, the first thing that's really important to remember is plant selection. Now, as we've done here in our Flex 15, we've chosen plants that are appropriate for the tank's lighting system and that are appropriate for the tank's size. We've also placed them correctly in the aquarium in order to allow them the room that they need to grow and to fill in on a long-term basis. Now in the Flex 9 over here, I'm going to be planting a few species of Cryptocorinne. I'll do one as an example for you guys. Now what I've already done here is I've trimmed the roots of the plant. I leave about 1 inch or 2 of it. This will stimulate root growth and it makes the planting technique a little bit easier. Now using a good quality pair of tongs, I like to grab the plant by the base of the roots and insert it into the stratum. The technique I like to use is to insert the plant quite deep into the substrate, and then once it has taken hold, I like to pull the plant up slightly so as to make sure that the crown is exposed. You don't want to leave the plant too deep in the substrate because then it has a chance to suffocate and to not grow. Now after your tank is fully planted, then you want to top it up, add your filtration, let it run for a few days before getting into your longer term maintenance. Now we recommend to invest in a good quality fertilizer and a CO2 kit. Most plants will benefit from the addition of CO2. It will really help them grow and fill in. Both of these things we have here at Fluval.
On the note of long-term maintenance, don't forget that you should not be using a gravel washer with Fluval Stratum, but you're simply going to siphon off any surface debris as part of your regular maintenance.
That's right. We also recommend to not mix Fluval Stratum with other substrates. If you keep it on its own, you're going to have the best results. It'll help ensure the longevity of the product.
Great final tip. Any questions, please hit us up at fluvalaquatics.com. Don't forget to subscribe below, and thanks very much for watching.